The holidays are upon us, whether we like it or not. Each year, as I enter this season, I always have the best intentions at heart. I want to slow down. I want to match pace with what is happening in the world outside. The days are getting shorter. The nights are longer. It feels super cozy inside because it's warm in there when it's cold outside. And I want to sit just a little bit longer. I have the best intentions of matching that intentionality of what is happening literally outside my doors. But what I find myself doing is filling up my calendar with things that are fun, for sure, but adding one more thing to maybe make the tradition a little sweeter for my kiddos. Maybe make that experience just a little richer with my friends. Maybe adding one more batch of cookies to bake because I need to remember that teacher or the teacher of the teacher or someone 3 times removed. I can't forget them. I want to show my appreciation somehow. And even though the best intentions are at hand, oftentimes what happens is by the time the holiday season is over, I find myself saying, how did it happen again? The holidays went by way too fast. They were too overbooked. They were too riddled with things to do and things to see and things to get. And it feels overwhelming. And if I am being really honest, disappointing. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is, but our culture has shifted and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget, and I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank, and I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style, where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Your holiday decorations are probably up by now. Your lights are maybe twinkling as we speak. You might have already burned through 2 of your favorite candles, watched 15 Hallmark movies, and baked 3 dozen batches of cookies. Maybe you are ahead of your holiday shopping, maybe you're behind, maybe you even wrapped your things. The holidays are upon us, whether we like it or not. Each year, as I enter this season, I always have the best intentions at heart. I want to slow down. I want to match pace with what is happening in the world outside. The days are getting shorter. The nights are longer. It feels super cozy inside because it's warm in there when it's cold outside. And I want to sit just a little bit longer. I have the best intentions of matching that intentionality of what is happening literally outside my doors. But what I find myself doing is filling up my calendar with things that are fun, for sure, but adding one more thing to maybe make the tradition a little sweeter for my kiddos. Maybe make that experience just a little richer with my friends. Maybe adding one more batch of cookies to bake because I need to remember that teacher or the teacher of the teacher or someone 3 times removed. I can't forget them. I want to show my appreciation somehow. And even though the best intentions are at hand, oftentimes what happens is by the time the holiday season is over, where I started out with the idea of I want to relax, I want to take it slow, I want to really revel in the anticipation for me of what the true meaning of Christmas is, I really want to take time to reflect on that and make space. But at the end, I find myself saying, how did it happen again? The holidays went by way too fast. They were too overbooked. They were too riddled with things to do and things to see and things to get and all the things. And it feels overwhelming. And if I am being really honest, disappointing. Even though this is, and I'm air quoting, the most joyful time of year. For some of you, it is not. And I just want to acknowledge that right now that it's not. But for some of us, the anticipation is almost in competition with the things we see on Pinterest, right? How can we make it bigger and better and funner? Is funner a word? It's not a word. More fun. How can we make it sparkle just a little bit more with the best intentions in mind? And I got to thinking about what I want to be putting out into this season for all of you. Because for most of the year, I spend time chatting about ways that you can strategically decorate your home on a budget, changing different things, tips and tricks you can apply. But I don't want to add to the noise that is likely already filling up your own calendar, because I have a feeling I'm not alone with this. So instead of these next 3 weeks filling up your earbuds with things that you feel like you need to do, want to do, have on your list to do, and you want to do them before Christmas and before the new year and get them all in before, instead of adding to that noise, I'm actually taking a step back. It doesn't mean I'm not going to be showing up until the new year. What it means is I am taking a stance on simplicity. And I believe that our homes can be simplistic, our traditions can be simplistic. The things that we have made intentions for our space, for the people we share it with, there can be space carved around that so that we can do this season well, whatever that means for you. And so instead of adding to the noise, I am going to help combat the noise a little bit with you. So what you can expect, the next 3 Tuesdays, we are doing a mini series called Craving Simplicity, and it's all home related. Of course, that makes sense. But instead of tips and tricks and strategies for all the ways that you can do something, we're going to be talking about the people inside. The reason you create an environment that is a respite when the world outside feels broken and shattered and sometimes scary and lonely. We're going to be talking about nurturing those spaces here in your homes so that you can enter into 2025 well. And then, of course, on Fridays, we're doing something a little bit different as we close out the year. I have a super secret surprise, by the way, on December 19th. I take it back. December 20th, a super secret surprise that I want you to mark your calendar for. You don't want to miss that one. So as we dive in to craving the simplicity, to craving the slow, I want to see if you can do something with me. I want you, as you're listening, to take a look around wherever you are. Maybe you're in line in the pickup line at school. Maybe you're shopping for gifts at Home Goods. Maybe you're wrapping your gifts, folding laundry, whatever it is. I want you to look up and I want you to think about something within your space that you have gratitude for, that you are thankful for. And I want you to just be mindful of that thought rather than the task at hand, because I probably think you might be multitasking. Okay. Let's dive into today's show. We are talking about 6 ways that you can foster the slowness, the still, the quiet, the simplicity at home. And I did say I was going to remove the tips and tricks, but this is the only one where I'm going to share, I'm going to just call it strategies. Strategies for fostering the environment that feels a little bit slower. Number 1. Turn off all of your overhead lighting. Now, I know sometimes you need that task lighting. Sometimes you need a bright light in order to chop the carrots so that you are not chopping your hand. But when you're done with that task, turn it off and just go through your evening, go through your late afternoon, go through your early morning with ambient lighting. The glow of the Christmas tree, the extra candles burning, the table lamps, the floor lamps. And if you need to pull some from another room, maybe a guest room that you're not using, and put it on a counter, turn off the overhead lighting and just go by the mood lighting. This, by the way, is one of my favorite tips for creating a cozy environment all year long. But this one, especially at this time of year, immediately takes down and kind of lowers, I don't want to say lowers the blood pressure. I have no idea if this is scientific or not. But for me, it definitely sets the mood and the tone, and that is why it's called mood lighting. It is a real thing. So turn off those heavy incandescent lights, those overhead lights, and let your space be just a little bit moodier. Number 2, move your tasks near the Christmas tree. If you decorate for the Christmas tree, this is something, of course, that we only have maybe 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. If you are really fun, maybe you have it out for 12 weeks. I don't know. But we only have it for a limited time of the year. So move any of your tasks near there. Games that you play with your kiddos, books that you're reading, tea that you're drinking in the late afternoon, having your snack even, folding your laundry, making your meal plan, doing anything you might need to on a laptop that is mobile. Last night I did that. I had a little bit of work I needed to do, and instead of sitting in my office that admittedly is a little bit cluttered, is admittedly needing a really, really deep clean, the aesthetic of my office compared to the aesthetic by the Christmas tree is drastically different. And I enjoyed it so much better, even if I stayed up way too late. Think about the things that you can move near the Christmas tree, things that you naturally normally would be doing anyway. And if it's not something that is location specific, like you need to put your clothes away and they are in your bedroom, or you need to clean the bathroom and it's in the bathroom, if it's something that you can bring to that location, do it. Give it a try. Number 3, pay attention to the scent in the air. Now, there's nothing wrong with burning a candle, and there's nothing wrong with setting a diffuser. But sometimes when you have the natural scent, it can infuse the air with, I don't know if you feel this, but when you burn a candle, I know I get affected a little bit. Sometimes I start sneezing or coughing or even wheezing a little because of the chemicals that are inside. So clearing that just a little and having a simmer pot going, if you're staying home for a long period of time, having that with natural scents is going to fill your air with such warmth, and that fragrance that just screams holiday, that screams, oh my gosh, am I back at my grandma's kitchen? Here is a simple simmer pot recipe for you. Take 2 or 3 cups of water and put it in a pot, of course. Cut up, maybe slice half an orange or even more of an orange if you like that scent a little bit more. 1 or 2 cinnamon sticks, 4 to 8 cloves, whole cloves. And of course, if you don't have that, you can put a dash of cinnamon, you can put a dash of cloves, maybe even a dash of nutmeg, but then adding a sprig of pine needles, a little cut off the branch, will infuse that even more and bring in the pine scent that we always like to get in the candle form. And if you don't have that nearby, I have so many living in the evergreen state, but if you don't have pine needles nearby, try a sprig of rosemary and let that simmer, and it will infuse your air. It will fill that space with such a delicious aroma. And number 4, don't forget the Christmas music. Now, if the idea of having pop Christmas music and Mariah Carey screaming at you is actually the opposite of slowing down and creating a little bit of calm and a little bit of peace, if that feels a little screechy to you, then choose a playlist that has maybe instrumental or folk Christmas music, or even not even Christmas music if this is too much of a good thing. Even doing instrumental lightly in the background can help you to create that sense of simplicity and that sense of calm. One thing that I really liked listening to is instrumental pop music. You know, sometimes the Bach and Beethoven and Mozart, I can only handle so much. I know I might not be that cultured, but I love the instrumental music when it comes to music I hear on the radio in current times. I think that is so much fun and so beautiful. So whatever it is for you, taking out those words even will just kind of calm the background noise and allow that spirit of simplicity to take hold a little bit. Of course, lowering the volume so it doesn't interfere with your train of thought or the activity at hand or what have you. Number 5, don't forget to carve out a little bit of you time. There's something about the wintertime, holidays in particular, for me that makes me feel really, really crafty. And if it happens to be in conjunction with a snow day, which we don't get very often over here, then it is heightened. I want to craft and create and get my sewing machine out and maybe even the embroidery machine and just have fun crafting. And of course, this is when I think about it, this is directly linked to tradition. And that's something we're going to be talking about next week. But it's directly linked to that tradition and those core memories that were developed, me with my kiddos when we had crafternoons when they were little, me with my mom when we would craft different things. I may have mentioned at one point that my mom would hand create our ornaments every year for our Christmas tree. It was a different theme every single year, and we never knew what it was going to be. We didn't decorate our tree until mid-December, after hiking for it in the woods and hauling it out with a sled. But she would stay up so late hand creating these ornaments. And again, we wouldn't know what the theme was until we were ready to decorate. But there's something beautiful about that, carving out that space for things that really nurture you, whatever that is. Maybe it's just reading a book. Maybe it's going for a walk, going for a run, doing some yoga. Maybe it's baking. Maybe it's playing the piano. Maybe it's just putting together a puzzle or playing with your kitties. Whatever it is, make sure to carve out some of that time for you so that you can rejuvenate that space within you that feels sometimes overwhelmed, even by our own doing, our own calendar making, our own to-do lists. Carve out that space for you. And number 6, when we are craving simplicity, craving a little bit of connection to our home and our space and the people we share it with, is to make a homemade meal. Now, this might go without saying for some of you. You might think, well, yeah, I do this every night. But some of us don't. Some of us are in that hurried state and we get the packaged goods and we get the prepackaged thing, or we go through the drive-thru, or we get the Costco lasagna, or whatever it is, in order to have simplicity. But what I'm suggesting is actually slowing down to make the meal, to make it together, to sit down and enjoy it together, could be a form of simplicity thought about in a different way that is actually very bonding. One of my very favorite things to do around the table, we talk a lot of soccer at our dining room table. We talk a lot of Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. We talk a lot about things that make me feel like I don't know enough foreign languages. Did you know soccer is a foreign language? All the players and the tactics and the coaches and the strategies and all the things. Same with Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. These are different languages, and being the only girl in a house full of boys, sometimes it can be a little lonely, and sometimes we need to redirect the conversation so that mom can get involved. And so some of the strategies I've employed throughout the years are having conversation cards around the table where we pick a card and it just kind of elicits that conversation, something that we might not have thought about. You can do the same thing with an Advent. We have an Advent conversation starter. It's just a teeny tiny little devotional that we do. Sometimes it is a game. The game Headbands is perfect for dinner time entertainment. I grew up in a home where it was my sister and I, we would just giggle. And if one of us got the giggling fits, oh boy, it was really, really hard to stop. And our parents didn't always appreciate that, that mirth at the dining room table. But having the sound of laughter and giggles is so much fun. So having a game, even a game at the dining room table can be a neat way to connect, and in kind of an unexpected way if you've never brought a game to the dining room table before while you were eating. Another one that could be fun if you don't care about getting cards, any food on cards, would be apples to apples. We have had the best giggling sessions over apples to apples. All right, friend, I hope that this mini-series helps you to not add to your to-do list this season. I hope that it helps you carve out time and space for preparing your home and allowing your home to serve you just a little bit better this holiday. You've done all the work of bringing down your decorations and putting them on display in ways that really make you delighted and your kids excited. And now it's time to enjoy it. So I hope that you're able to use these 6 little strategies to help you carve out that space and carve out that time and really allow yourself the chance to slow down this season. I know it will be for me. All right, friend, until next time, I'll see you soon. Hey, real quick before you go, if you learned something new or found value in today's podcast, would you head over to iTunes to Fig and Farm at Home and leave a review and subscribe to the show? That would be awesome. And if you'd like to connect with my community of mamas who are learning to be intentional storytellers within their own homes, join us at bit.ly/design101 group. There's always more room at the table. See you soon.